All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to shine a spotlight on solar energy in Bangladesh, but we're doing it through the lens of one particular company, Frostec Solar Powers, or FSP. You see, they have a really unique engineering-first approach that's all about building not just a sustainable, but a fundamentally safer energy future for the country.
This right here, this single sentence is the key to understanding everything about FSB. It's their whole philosophy in a nutshell. They don't see themselves as just selling you some panels to stick on a roof. No way. For them, they're building a piece of critical infrastructure, something as complex and as important as any other part of the electrical grid. And that mindset, it changes everything about how you tackle a project.
Okay, so who are they exactly? Well, this is Frostec Solar Powers Pvt. They're a Bangladesh-based solar EPC and renewable energy solutions provider. Now, that EPC part is super important. It stands for engineering, procurement, and construction. It basically means they handle the entire project, from the first sketch to the final installation. This gives them total control over quality and means there's a single team responsible for the whole thing.
And everything they do boils down to these four pillars. It's not just about generating power, it's about system safety, which is always number one. Then there's engineering accuracy, making sure every single calculation is spot on. Next up is long-term reliability, so the system keeps working perfectly for decades to come. And finally, regulatory and technical compliance, which means they tick every box for both local and international standards. This is their checklist, and for them it's non-negotiable.
So, this leads us right into the heart of their approach, what they call their engineering-first philosophy. Let's dig into the principles that really make them stand out in the renewable space.
They have this core principle called safety-first engineering. And yeah, it's pretty much what it says on the tin. It's a formal rule that every single project from the ground up has to be designed to minimize risk. We're not talking about cutting corners here to save a few bucks. This is about systematically designing out potential problems to make sure the system is safe for its owners and for the grid it's connected to.
And this is where the big ideas get real. FSP turns that philosophy into 5 concrete technical actions. We're talking about proper protection for all the electrical components, surge protectors for things like lightning strikes, and of course, correct earthing and grounding, which is absolutely critical. They're also meticulous about managing every single cable to prevent future faults. And the whole thing is tied together with a great monitoring system, so you can see exactly what's happening at all times.
Okay, so we've talked about their philosophy, right? The why and the how behind what they do. Now let's look at the what. What kind of solutions do they actually build? Their sweet spot is rooftop solar, and they really do cover the whole spectrum. We're talking everything from a single-family home to a huge industrial factory roof, all the way up to complex government and institutional buildings, which, as you can imagine, have their own unique set of challenges.
And depending on what a client needs, they'll engineer one of 3 main types of systems. You've got your standard on-grid system, which is pretty straightforward. It just feeds any extra power you generate back to the utility. Then there's the hybrid, which adds batteries. Think of this as your backup plan for when the power goes out. And finally, for those really remote spots, they design fully independent off-grid systems. The right choice always comes down to the client's specific situation.
And this chart, it does a fantastic job of showing you their entire playbook for every single project. See, it's a full circle. It all starts with a super detailed load assessment to see how much power is actually needed. From there, they move to system design. Then that critical electrical protection design we just talked about, followed by the inverter architecture. And it all wraps up with intense commissioning and testing before they hand over the keys. They don't skip a single step.
Okay, let's shift gears a little and talk about something really important for FSP, these big national-level projects for institutions. This is where their engineering-first approach really shines.
So this begs the question, right? If you're a decision maker at a government agency or a state-owned company, you're probably asking, why should we go with FSP? What exactly makes them the right fit for the unique headaches that come with these kinds of large-scale projects?
Well, the answer really comes down to what they call their institutional advantage. They bring total technical clarity and disciplined documentation, and you know how crucial that paperwork is for official processes. Their designs are what they call estimation ready, which is a huge deal. It just makes budgeting and getting that green light so much easier. On top of that, they're laser focused on compliance, they communicate professionally, and they're already thinking about long-term operations and maintenance from day one.
And honestly, this quote just nails it. They get the reality of working with big institutions. They know that clear, precise, and thorough documentation isn't just a nice little extra. It is the single most important thing for getting a project estimated, approved, and actually built. They just get it.
All right, so they've clearly got a solid handle on the here and now. But what about the future? Where's a company like this headed?
A company's roadmap tells you a lot about their ambition.
And you can see they've got a really clear step-by-step plan. In the short term, say the next year or two, they're focusing on even bigger projects with more advanced monitoring. Looking out a bit further, 3 to 5 years from now, that's when they plan to scale up to utility-level collaborations and integrate large-scale battery energy storage systems. And the big long-term goal? The vision is to become a go-to national partner, the brand that everyone thinks of when they hear engineering-driven solar in Bangladesh.
Now, a huge part of making that vision happen is their whole philosophy on technology. Here's the key. They are performance-driven, not brand-driven. And that is such a critical difference. It means they're not tied to any one manufacturer. Instead, they pick and choose the best components from internationally recognized companies for each specific job, making sure they get the best performance and that the system can be serviced for years to come.
And to make all this happen, they're not trying to go it alone. They're super clear about who they want to team up with. They're actively looking for partners in state-owned power companies, government institutions, and major industrial players. The goal of these partnerships is to work together on everything from finding good spots for solar projects to running the numbers and finally taking those projects from a small pilot all the way to a massive, large-scale implementation.
And that really brings us to their final point, which I think just sums up their entire approach perfectly. For Frostec Solar Powers, a good project isn't just measured in the amount of power it produces. No, it's a physical reflection of the values they build with: safety, reliability, and a clear vision for the future.
So look, if this engineering-first way of thinking sounds like what you're looking for, they're ready to talk. They're available for technical presentations, meetings, and to help out with official estimations. And that's our look at Frostec Solar Powers.